Right, this next lesson has two sections to it, solving equations, and the second section is going to be on rearranging formulas. So have a read over this slide, pause the video. Right, here's your warm-up activity. I want you to copy this down in your book and label each section of this algebraic expression. Right, I want you just to follow the instructions down here on choosing a number. So I'd like you to do that. Pause the video and write down what you got. Let's just have a bit of a look at this one. So let's choose a number. I'm going to choose x, make it a variable, because I don't know what the number is yet. I'm going to double it. I'm going to add 12. And I'm going to subtract 4. And I'm going to divide by 2. Now I'm going to subtract my original answer, which was x. Now, for your answer you should get is 4. Why is that the case? Let's have a quick look. Right, 12 minus 4 is 8. Divide that by 2, and we're still minusing off our x. Let's divide by 2. So we have x plus 4 minus x. X minus x will give us 4. So that's how they play these games, where you'll always get back the same number because the person has a bit of an understanding of algebra. Okay, inverse operations. I'd like you to make a little table up in your books and copy these down. Inverse operations are pretty much just saying what operation can we do to this equation to undo what has been done. So for example, how do I undo a plus 5? I minus 5. How do I undo a multiply by 5? I divide by 5. Right, have a look at this one here. Solve for x in the equation. So x plus 4 equals 10. Four is added to x. To find the value of x, use inverse operations. So remember, the inverse to plus is minus, so we're going to minus 4 from both sides. Which will give us x equals 6. Okay, and it's always good practice to chuck your number back in. So x equals 6. So where we have x, put in a 6. Does 6 plus 4 equal 10? If it does, then you're correct. Okay, let's solve each one of these. X plus 8 equals 22. We're going to use inverse operations here. So plus 8, we're going to have to minus 8 of both sides. So x plus 8 minus 8 equals 22 minus 8. Plus 8 minus 8 will just leave us with x, and 22 minus 8 will give us 14. Okay, we want to undo a minus in this next one here. There's minus 24, so our inverse operation is going to be plus 24. So plus 24 to both sides to get x equals 45 plus 24, 69. Okay, the next one, we've got 6 multiplied by x equals 42. So we've got to divide both sides by that 6. 42 divided by 6, which will give us x equals 7. This one here, x is divided by 3, so we've got to multiply by 3. So x divided by 3 and multiply by 3 on both sides to undo that divide by. So we get x equaling 54. Okay, pause the video now and have a go at answering these questions in your book. Right, go through and check your answers. Right, these next ones, pause the video, try them, then push play and check your answers. Right, have a look over your answers, over these answers here, and mark them in your books. Right, balancing equations. An equation can be described as a set of scales where both sides must be level or equal. In order to ensure that both sides of an equation stay equal, we use the rule: what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. If you don't, it'll be unequal and your scales will fall over, which would be bad engineering. So you'll see here, we got 5 plus 4, which is 9, and we added plus 2 to one side and a plus 2 to the other side. So now our equation is balanced. We add too much to one side, or we just do it to one side, the times 5, now one of the sides have become unbalanced. So now our scales are tilting too far to one side, so they haven't been engineered well in that case. But if we do it to both sides, they're nice and level. So let's have a look at a couple of equations here where we're going to do the same thing to both sides. Solve for x in each equation. So let's have a look at this one. We've got a 9x plus 5 equals 59. So if you remember back to your order of operation, now we're going to do it backwards because we're going to unwrap this equation and try to get back to that x. So at the moment we've got a plus 5. Usually you do addition and subtraction last. We're going to do it first. We're going to use the inverse operation. So we're going to minus 5 and we're going to do that to both sides. So 9x plus 5 minus 5 will just leave us with 9x, and 59 minus 5 will give us 54. Now the next step is 9 times x. How do you get rid of 9 times? We divide by 9. So x is going to equal 6. So we've unwrapped the equation with 2 inverse operations. Let's have a quick look at the next one. So just like in the first one, we need to write down what we do on the right hand side. We're going to start with our subtraction first. We've got a minus 3. To undo a minus 3, we add 3. So that's going to get rid of that minus 3. We've got to do the same thing to the 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. Now we've got x divided by 2. To undo a divide by 2, I times both sides by 2. To get x equaling to 12 times 2, 24. Right, pause the video, have a go at doing these in your book, and then replay the video and we'll do them both together. Right, this first one, 2x plus 13 equals 31. Undo it by getting rid of that 13, so we're going to use an inverse operation for the plus, so we're going to minus 13 from both sides. So 31 minus 13 gives us 18. Now we have to undo that times 2, so we're going to divide by 2. X equals 9. This next one here, we've got a minus 6, so we're going to add 6. X on 2 equals 3 plus 6, which is 9. Get rid of that divide by 2 by multiplying by 2. So x is going to equal 9 times 2, 18. Next one down here, get rid of that plus 9 by minusing 9. X on 4 equals 18 minus 9 is 9. Get rid of that divide by 4 by timesing by 4. So x will equal 36. Okay, and the last one here, we've got a minus 8, so we're going to add 8 to both sides. 9x equals 63. Go get rid of that 9, so divide both sides by 9. X equals 7. Okay, pause the video here and have a go at doing these in your book. Replay the video when you're ready for the answers. Okay, have a look at the answers, tick them off in your books. Okay, there's a worksheet there labelled single step equations. I'd like you to pause the video and try that one now. Alright, second half of the lesson, rearranging formulas. Okay, I'd like you to copy down the definition of a formula which has 2 or more variables. And here's some examples here. You would have seen this one before for the circumference of the circle, 2 pi r. And here's one for a gradient of graph, rise over run. Right, I'd like you to copy down the definition up here too for what the subject of a formula is. Once you've done that, have a read over the question, pause the video, and I would like you to copy and complete this question in your books. Okay, for each of these, identify the variable that is the subject of these formulas. So if you look up here, subject of the formula is a variable that is isolated or by itself. So when the variable is by itself, this one out the front here, that is the subject. This last one here, it's actually the formula for a sphere, the volume of the sphere. So if you wrote that out in full, the subject would be the volume V. Right, with any formula you can rearrange it to make any of the other variables the subject. So here's an example of Newton's second law, force equals mass times acceleration. Where if you wrote it out in full, that's mass times acceleration in the middle there. We can rearrange that by dividing both sides by m. And this m will cancel, which will leave us with m on the left hand side now instead of the right hand side. And now we've isolated the a. So now we've got force divided by mass, or F divided by m, equals a.